Yeah. I think that it being 2026, there should be a change in how things go in terms of how we communicate with one another. I think we should normalize thoroughly striking people in the mouth if they respond to an opinion or a fact or a detail with a personal attack. There has to be a major malfunction mentally within the recesses of your pea-sized ass brain for you to do that. It's like, is sticking to the topic really that motherfucking hard for people? Because if it is, we got to do something about that. We really do. Let's take it on over to Reddit real quick so I can show y'all what I'm talking about. People with Battlefield 6 have a very big issue with small maps and excessive movement while fighting, because it gives a really nasty feeling of Battlefield being closer to Call of Duty. But let's get into it, right? This person lists a multitude of different things that are not realistic and shouldn't be, that people are making too big of a deal of it. That this is too much, right? They said there's nothing realistic about Battlefield unless being an Olympic sprinter, carrying 50 pounds of gear is realistic, or getting blown up by a grenade, then getting revived, and then start Olympic sprinting again, or eating several tank bullets, or health magically regenerating, suppression barely mattering, laser beaming people with the SMG from mad far away, helis eating missiles, unlimited ammo, or the audio. Battlefield is a cinematic and sandbox-driven game that is not realistic in the slightest, and y'all will draw the fucking line at fucking sliding, right? You forgot the very realistic act of exiting a moving fighter jet with an RPG and blowing up an enemy aircraft with it, and then free falling back into your fighter jet. But hey, sliding, get the fuck out of here. I said, first off, this is me, by the way. First off, there will be no Rendazook slander. None. Secondly, it's the abuse of the mechanic that does it. No one is spamming Rendies all day long, nor is it within the expected realm of gameplay. That's why it was special, you fucking idiots. Sliding and bunny hopping, on the other hand, every 2 goddamn milliseconds. Sliding and jumping doesn't do much in Battlefield compared to other arcade shooters. You just notice it and it annoys you because tryhards that are better than you all used it. Yet without it, he still kill you anyways. You didn't address shit I said in the name of trying to make a personal attack that didn't even fit shit that I said. That's a wild reach. So let's try this again and hope you get back on track. Call of Duty, sliding and or jumping around as a part of gameplay, expected. Titanfall, designed for it and more. Let me stop right there. You can go to Cold War right now. Look up Cold War videos. You go see people jumping around and shooting snipers from the hip like it ain't shit. You're gonna see that. Because that's Call of Duty. We know that. People play Battlefield to get away from that. I said Titanfall, designed for it and more, because wall running, sliding, jumping, bouncing off the wall, double jumping, all of that, grappling, hooking, all kinds of crazy shit, grenade jumping, all of that is expected in Titanfall, and that's why people would play it, because they know what they're getting themselves into. But it's also the reason why you would play Battlefield, because you don't want to deal with that. Does that make sense? Okay. Battlefield, not expected, not wanted, never was designed for it. If I'm lying, go back as far as Bad Company 2. I would dare somebody to try to jump shoot as a way of playing, and they think it's gonna go well. Okay. Get your ass gas trying that dumb shit. You will get gas trying that dumb shit. People who were good in that game knew how to hold their spot and bust your shit. That's the whole point. That's what makes Battlefield different. It's supposed to be closer to simulation than it is Call of Duty. It doesn't mean that it's real, but it's supposed to be closer, just closer to simulation. Like if there's a 3-pronged situation, right? Here's Call of Duty, here's complete simulation. Battlefield's supposed to be like that much, right? This is where Battlefield's supposed to be, right about here. But I said, if you can't understand this, you're actively missing the point, and any ad hominem won't change that, right? Speaking of which, I don't give a shit. I like editing anything that's an issue for me. Hominem, right? Won't change that. They said, you can say all these things, but the reality is you're bitching about your own skill. I rarely slide or jump, play every game mode regularly, and have been going 40 to 50 over 5 on console. If it upsets you so much, kill them, teabag them, and move on. Are we back on track yet? Meanwhile, still missing the fucking point. Still missing the point, because my personal skill level doesn't matter if the issue that is stemming from it is the presentation. It has very little to do with what you, the player, are doing in the game. Anywho, I said, you're honestly not on track because you aren't addressing the point, but pretending to know my skill level despite it not being the point or the post. You're personalizing. I'm sticking to the topic. People seem to have a severe issue doing that here, and there are schools to help them fix that. People are complaining about it for a multitude of reasons. Skill could be one of those reasons. Or the fact that it makes them feel as though Battlefield 6 is closer to Call of Duty in terms of presentation than they are used to or would like it to be could be the problem. But it couldn't possibly be that. Got it. Stay on track this time. The whole premise is that telling someone to get good at a game doesn't invalidate the very core issue of the presentation. Okay? It has nothing to do with that part, which is the actual issue. That's why they're asking for big maps and better interactivity in terms of, hey, if you're going to slide a mile across the goddamn floor, the least you might be able to do is have a fucked up shot. Because people be sliding with perfect aim, and that should be, I've done it. That's how I know it's crazy. When I did the shit, I was like, yeah, they got to tone that down. I just shook my head, and I did it. I've streamed it. Y'all have seen it. Those who came to watch, y'all seen me do dumb shit on Battlefield. Minding my business. And I just like blowing up vehicles. That is where my fun for that game stops. Blowing vehicles up. If I'm gonna be dancing around and sliding here and sliding there and trying to do all this extra shit, or watching people do the extra shit like that, or bunny hopping all over the fucking place. Cause the wildest shit I've seen so far, somebody slid to a room, jumped and did some weird like Cyclone 360. I've seen that on Call of Duty and on Battlefield 6. I don't know how the fuck they do that. But when I see stuff like that, it makes the games come closer in relation than what the typical Battlefield player would be used to. That's why it's the very reason why we really enjoy Battlefield, because it's supposed to get you away from that. But here we go. I mean, if you want to actively miss the point, feel free. And never mind the hum. It's cold in my room and the heater going, come on. But if that is where it's at, you have to look at it from that space and not a penny more, not a penny less. The presentation doesn't change the fact that this is what we want. Okay? It doesn't change the fact that that isn't necessary. It was never necessary for Battlefield. And if y'all think I'm lying, go play Battlefield 3 Operation Metro and see how much all that jump shit and slidey potential that didn't exist in that game. You just got locked out. And if the only way you got in was with smokes, grenades, and hopes. And the shit was crazy. And crazy fun. We didn't need it. The closeness of these games did not need to be the case. But that's just my take on it. If y'all got a different take, y'all let me know, all right?